page, and then
Vlog on a blog. Tomorrow's news today. Get to the truth. Listen, learn, live. Visit us at YAHOWAH.com.
all right, here we are. We're back again. I think we got a cogent message in on why Elon Musk is funding Donald Trump and keeping him out of jail so that he can torment the rest of us. So we'll pick this program back up. You can see we are on my X page. That's me and my beautiful wife. That is the back deck of the home that you all have seen on numbers of shows. It is pretty amazing here that we have 32,000 posts on X for a grand total of 1,952 followers. Thank God we're not looking for followers. As a matter of fact, I think since Grok decided that he was going to improve X by ignoring what the users had chosen in terms of following. So I had the people that I had chosen to follow, and I expected to see their posts. That's why I chose to follow them.
Sure.
But Grok thought he was smarter than me. And so it's Grok who decides what you get to see in your feed. And of course, you use X by responding to the posts in your feed, which should be filled with your followers and not with numbskulls that you are rebuking. But that's not how Grok runs X anymore. And we wouldn't even be on X because it just became a cesspool. And back at the time, we were way over 2,300 on X, and it just began to cascade because they said, there's just no point in this. What a waste of time. And unfortunately, at the time, there was still, a decent ability to use Facebook. And then Facebook, after Zuckerberg had his Rose Garden meal where he was sitting at the right hand of Donald Trump, Facebook just fell apart. Facebook now is completely useless. Where X is mostly useless, Facebook is completely useless. And we can't even transfer information from it to a vlog. And you just constantly have to create new accounts because Facebook's thought police will down an account for you criticizing something they served you in a feed. I can say, that post that you gave me in this feed is wrong for all the following reasons. And then they'll suspend my account for the post that they gave me. And so you just say, okay, the stupid is just way too stupid here. So anyway, we're currently on X, although we stream this program live to half a dozen Facebook accounts, Rumble, Odyssey, and X, and others. So it's pretty well distributed.
It's like saying the chicken is raw in a restaurant and then them kicking you out and still making you pay for the meal. It's like, what?
Yes,
You're trying to kill me here?
Yes, my crime was telling you that the chicken that you're trying to serve is not a chicken. It's a snake, and it's toxic. So that's grounds for being kicked out. Yep. So there we are. All right. So we finished our condemnation on Trump, not on Trump. On Trump blackmailing Elon Musk, and we can assume that Grok didn't like that very much. Well, Trump's not going to like this very much. Here's a woman. I don't know if she's a congressman or a representative. I think she's a representative. Sarah Jacobs is her name. She is grilling both Trump and Hegseth over the stupidity of the Iranian war. And her speech is actually quite good. Listen to it.
The mental stability of our commander-in-chief is deeply important to our troops. It's deeply important to this country. It wasn't important to you during Joe Biden. I'll remind you that when there were concerns, Democrats came together, and he was not our nominee for president. So I encourage you to have the same courage that Democrats had. Mr. Secretary, you keep saying that he is the best commander-in-chief we've ever had, the best negotiator. 13 American troops have died More than 380 have been wounded. The Strait of Hormuz, which was wide open, is now closed. Less than 90% of traffic through the strait is still not going despite the ceasefire. The Iranian regime is still in power. It still has nuclear material. The war is costing Americans billions of dollars. And Mr. Secretary, if you think that this is what winning looks like, then maybe we should be questioning your mental stability. Maybe you are the one responsible for this failure, and the president should think about replacing you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I yield back.
Even he had to nod. Say, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, he was a clown during those whole hearings, by the way. I'm just stunned that he was able to connive the Congress into approving the doubling of the defense budget so that we've gone from $500 million up to 500 billion to 1.5 trillion now in defense spending. And he was so belligerent, such an a-hole during the whole thing, and so obnoxious. It's stunning that it was approved. And narrowly and sadly approved. Anyway, I think this was a pretty decent earwhacking of hog's breath.
Oh, and her point stands. I mean, she had 5 points that were spot on via the Iran war. But for them to be able to continue to come out and say we're winning, the American people are they're getting sick of winning so much. And gosh, Iran's on the phone trying to surrender to us all the time. I mean, her point stands is that Mr. Hegseth says, if you're going to come out and say this, then we should probably question your sanity. I mean,
not probably, definitely.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Or just honesty, integrity.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So this next is that the Iranians have a public pronouncement that they said they took out another 3 and damaged another 2 F-35s. That'd be the most expensive piece of military equipment the U.S. Operates, and their strike on Jordan. Of course, the U.S. Department of Defense, which is known for lying and lies about everything. And I can assure you that's the case. I took the time to investigate the first 500 deaths in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I can tell you that on every single fatality, the Department of Defense lied. And I proved it. So this is a really scumbag operation that America projects overseas. And they say, no, may have damaged 1, but no big deal. And I've seen now satellite imagery of at least 1 F-35 completely destroyed in Jordan. And at this point, the Iranians have proved much more responsible and accurate in the reporting than has the United States. So it's probably another 3 have been destroyed and 2 beyond that badly damaged. Now, since the beginning of the Iran war, the U.S. has lost 45 aircraft. Now, this includes F-35s, F-15s, A-10s, and air tankers, as well as AWAC aircraft. The Congress Resources Report documented, and it was published, of course, before this successful strike this week against the U.S. in Jordan, reveals that during Operation Epic Fury, the U.S. military had already lost these 42 fixed-wing or rotor-wing aircraft, and that the losses include F-15 Strike Eagles. Now it's got to be 4 of them, 4 F-35 light-wing fighter aircraft, at least 1 or more A-10 Thunderbolts. They had 3 Hercules aircraft. Those are the propeller aircraft that C-130s that we saw destroyed in the desert trying to recapture Captain Uranium. And they didn't even bother to count those, and well as the helicopters that were downed on that, but they didn't bother to count. The inventory in the U.S. Defense Department is a real problem. Anyway, they have 2 MC-1301 Special Operations aircraft, an E-3 Century AWACS aircraft, and all manner of very expensive drones. It's been a really disaster for America.
Well, they lost the Apache pilot over the Strait of Hormuz that they had to go pop out of the water, right? So
Yep.
that's
Yes,
another one that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just on and on. Yes, and Trump obviously failed math, and so did Hegseth. Maybe he was drunk at the time that class took place. So they're clueless, and they lie more often than they tell the truth. So all you can tell is that it's been an absolute waste of American hardware. So here we go.
Wharton cringes every time Trump says that's his alma mater, doesn't it? I mean, the entire staff, the deans, all of them, they just close their eyes and go, no, 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 no. Wharton Business School. I mean, for the guy to fail math of all things, it's like.
Yeah, well, Daddy made a gift, so there he goes. Oh boy, the Black Plague. They have really been in the news here recently. This is the scum of scum. I mean, all you can do to save Israel is just tell them to fumigate the Black Death. Judaism is going to be the end of them. Judaism has become parasitic and obnoxious. And if Jews don't disavow Judaism in a hurry, it'll be the end of Jews.
Well, they don't understand Zionism. First of all, they don't understand what Zion means. That's their first issue. The second issue is they're not thinking ahead because they're in New York here with a Muslim mayor who is open to destruction of Israel, kill Jews, and here they are saying, yeah, that's a good thing. Let's Israel's bad. They're not going to have any place to go. I mean, where are they going to go from New York?
You're suggesting that the religious ought to be smart?
Well, okay. Shame on me.
You can't be religious and be smart. So no, they're just the Black Death. They are absolutely a waste of a human soul. They are completely and utterly worthless, and far worse than being worthless. They're a great negative overall on Israel, and unfortunately, Judaism is associated with Jews, and so Jews are tarnished with the same brush as you would correctly tarnish this scum. That's the Black Plague right there.
No sense of self-preservation. I mean, even a fish will jump back out of the boat into the water. It knows where these, someplace safe to go. These guys aren't even thinking that far ahead. No self-preservation.
No. They're so warped that their view is that if something tragic happens to them, it is God's will because he views them as so worthy that they could endure the test. And if something good happens to them, it's a reward from their God.
Wow.
That's a little circular reasoning there, but that's their view of life.
I don't understand Hashem then, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is for sure. Well, here is the deal. The Bible has no contradiction.
Oh, really?
Then why Goody Action? Yes, why? There's actually 5 volumes of this. Why did I cover maybe 10% of them, and it's 5 volumes that average 600 and 700 pages each, just outlining the contradictions. There are so many contradictions that I could have written 50 volumes pointing them all out. There is not a single accurate citation of the Torah and prophets in your New Testament. The man who wrote the first 14 books admitted to being demon-possessed, and he is nothing but a con man. There is no evidence whatsoever for there being a Jesus. He is nothing but the product of counterfeit. Even your term, holy, means diseased in Hebrew, and Bible means to confound and confuse. I mean, you've got nothing. It is, if you were to remove the contradictions, falsehoods, and flaws from the Christian New Testament, you wouldn't even have a page left.
What? We just started with the title. We didn't even have to open the book in it. We destroyed the damn thing.
Yes. There are 300,000 known variances that would be contradictions between the oldest witnesses to the rubbish that is in the Christian New Testament, the 69 codices of their New Testament written prior to Constantine in the mid 4th century. And there are 300,000 known variances between them and amongst themselves and amongst what is now considered the Textus Receptus or the Nestle-Aland 27. So you only have 180 some odd thousand words, and there are almost twice as many variations as there are words. That might be a problem.
That might be a problem. That is not admissible as evidence. Sorry.
No, that might be a problem. All right, so speaking of problems, the whole world has one common problem. No, they don't have one. Yeah, Islam is a problem. No, but so are Twistian MAGAs. I mean, what a disease they have become. The moronic Marxists are a plague on this earth. In Spain, insane conspiratorialists, which number into the billions, are worthless and diseased. And then you have the trash that is all over littering social media. Out of control militaries, politicians, religious promoters, and on it goes. No, the world, if you want to get down to it, the world does have one problem. Humans.
Yeah.
That's why God said right there, as soon as mankind became many, he says, I regret having created humans. The problem is humans.
Yeah. He didn't say that about dogs. He didn't say that about cockroaches. Didn't say it about mosquitoes.
No, and I would fault him for that. I would fault him for that on the mosquitoes. We're going to have in fact, yesterday I said, listen, God, if you're not going to rid my office of mosquitoes in the evening, I am not working past 7:30. So they're biting me now. I'm not here to get another mosquito-borne disease. So I'm out of here. I'll see you in the morning. So I would kind of arm wrestle him on the mosquito. But if it weren't for the mosquito, there would be probably 3 times more humans on the planet. So he may be using the mosquito wisely, and I just need to put up with the irritation a while longer. Oh yeah, play this. It's devastating. Devastating. This is Dr. Malouf. Devastating footage from Gaza following 3 years of war. Look what Israel did. Oh, well, never mind. This is what Assad and Hezbollah did and Iran did in Homs, Syria. Oh, well. But, hey, it's Muslims killing Muslims, and nobody seems to care about that.
Right. Just from that shot, when I first saw it, I knew it wasn't Gaza because it wasn't piles of buildings. I mean, the Muslims are pretty good at shooting out the windows and stuff, but they're dropping buildings. It's a little outside their purview, But that is the difference. Is that these buildings are uninhabitable and have been destroyed in terms of being habitable and. A lot of it was chemical agents and everything else that made the area uninhabitable. But if you look at Gaza, it's flat. Oh,
be laughing
piles
because flattening Gaza was destructive for Israel. Not that the Muslims didn't deserve it, but it still was damaging to Israel. That's why I'm opposed to it.
The other thing that blew me away about these pictures is we have concrete buildings, right? I mean, these are modern concrete, some of these suckers are 10 stories tall, right? No paved streets. All the streets are dirt. There was one highway that I saw, and everything else was dirt. And I'm like, you guys can afford the concrete, but you can't lay down some tarmac? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Islam has been debilitating for a very long time. If it wasn't for the West figuring out a use for the black ooze that's underneath the sands in the Middle East, and then figuring out a way to extract it, and then figuring out a way to refine it, and then figuring out a way to distribute it, and the Muslims, which are private estates with flags, nationalized those assets, and then America did the deal where with the petrodollar, we provide the military to assure that those dictators maintain their control over their assets so long as they price all oil in dollars so that we could go off the gold standard and spend ourselves into oblivion and bankrupt the nation was the scheme. If it weren't for that and the fact that they can then bribe workers who are all slaves because they lose their passports and they're given a pittance of what they were, then there wouldn't even be this in the Middle East. They'd still be living in tents and riding camels. So Islam has been exceedingly depressing on development. Yeah, this is a fellow that Rich may know. Is Roger Walters or Waters. He is from Pink Floyd. And here he actually is right. Now, he may be dumb on most of the things he said, but here he is actually right. He just said, 25 million Russians died to save the world from Nazi Germany. It was Russians that won that war, not America. And now you've got Europe wanting to go to war with them. I mean, how could you be so stupid? Ask the late Lindsey Graham. Oh, you would, but he's dead. Oh, you could ask John McCain. Oh, well, you couldn't, but he is dead. Yeah, sorry, but we made it was a real screw up there. That's America's war too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty much ouch. You can play this. I think it either has a translation to English or closed captions.
China's nuclear policy remains highly stable, consistent, and predictable. We advocate the complete prohibition and thorough destruction of nuclear weapons, follow a policy of no first use of nuclear weapons, and unconditionally commit not to use or threaten to use nuclear weapons against non-nuclear weapon states or nuclear weapon-free zones. China follows a nuclear strategy of self-defense, keeping its nuclear capabilities at the minimum level required for safeguarding national security, and does not engage in any form of nuclear arms race. China's nuclear strength is essential for deterring nuclear warfare and safeguarding world peace and security, as well as global strategic stability.
Yeah.
Wow. By contrast, America's belligerent. We go off and we go to war with Iran not once but twice because we think that they may have a bomb even though they don't have a bomb. But to say they can't have a bomb, I mean, come on.
Which side suggesting using nukes?
Yeah. And yes, and have talked about using nukes to take out Iran. And then the last news conference, when he was asked again, would he consider using nukes against Iran? He says, I don't have to because we've already destroyed Iran. It's not that he wouldn't, not that he had anything against it. He says, no, I don't have to. I've already destroyed the country. So Chinese are saying they're moral and America's not. That's really an interesting thing because in America, it's always been perceived that the communists, and that's a communist government with a free enterprise economic system, that the communists were immoral. That's the whole purpose of Kennedy's moon race.
Godless communists.
We can't let the godless commies beat us. And so that's why we expressed all of the money. That's the only reason we're even contemplating have bases on the moon again, is the Chinese are planning on doing it, and we're dead set against them beating us to the moon. So it's just our ego and this religious ego that they're godless commies and therefore immoral. But the fact is that Twistians are the most immoral people on the planet, and Twistian MAGAs are the most immoral people on the planet. And China happens to, and both China and Russia happen to be vastly more moral than the United States.
Yeah, they even go so far as to talk about not engaging in wars in non-nuclear countries. You know, I mean, that was fast. I mean, China has always been, hey, we'll just buy you, right? I mean,
No, China doesn't even. It's not even that bad. I mean, first of all, almost every war has the United States as an instigator in one way or another.
Oh,
China's not an instigator in any war.
right.
The same thing is largely true with Russia. They're not an instigator of war. They're the victim of war, particularly now this Ukraine conflict. But the United States is the the overall belligerent one, and we can't seem to refrain from toppling governments and starting wars. And you think about the most insane of all is Lindsey Graham and John McCain, Victoria Nuland, et al. Overthrew the popularly elected Ukrainian government, and then, which was pro Russia, then gave them lots of money through the IMF, defrauding America in the process. And then McCain and Graham went in, and they're on video telling the most Nazified of their militias, your war will be our war. We'll give you all the weapons you need to go off and kill Russians. You ought to start in the Oblast in the east and go kill a bunch of Russians. We want Russia severed. We want Russia torn apart. We'll give
Russian
you the weapons.
civilians.
Yeah, civilians, we don't care. Just go kill some Russians. And nobody was able to think that, wait a minute, they have the most nuclear weapons of any country. So let's say that you were successful and you killed enough Russians to destroy that country. How are they going to respond? Nuclear war. And if you fail, then you killed a lot of people for nothing, which is what has actually happened. So there's some IDF, either IDF soldiers or they are Israeli police. Anyway, they're walking down the street and they're being pursued and spit at and having things thrown at them by the Black Death. You can roll the tape and let people see. Now, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, because I'm going to do it. Israel doesn't have the character or courage to do it, but I'm going to scrape them all up, every single one of them. And if Gaza still exists at the time that we start this, I'm going to deposit them all in Gaza. And should any of them survive Gaza, I'm going to terminate all of them. That is all you can do with an infectious disease like this. This is a black plague. The Haredi are the scum of the earth. They are an absolute parasite. They're destroying Israel, and Jews are going to have a tough time surviving them.
Yes.
This is the greatest threat there has ever been to Israel, and it is the Haredi.
They're yelling Nazi. I was trying to find a Hebrew word that was Nazi, that go away, something. No, they're yelling Nazi at two dudes in kippahs. I mean, they're IDF soldiers. They're there to protect them from Muslims that want to come cut their head off and rape them, and they're yelling Nazi at them.
May they do so. And may they do so.
God.
These are subhumans. And at least this poster says, I have no desire for unity with them. Correct. I have no desire for reconciliation with them. Correct. I have no desire to fund their education, because they don't have education. It's just nothing but indoctrination and rabbinic lore. I have teach them how to behave. He has no interest in doing that either. I wish them only misery, and I want them out of Israel. I agree. Now, the difference between her, and I'm glad she said this, because there's not enough Israelis saying this, is that beginning in 4 years from now, Passover, 18th of April, 2030, I'm going to have the ability to do as she is requesting. Now, whether or not she turns to YAHOWAH and listens to me based upon the authorization and the power I have been granted to do this, that's another story. Now, that's what I really hope she does. And so we'll see. But between now and then, at least it's encouraging to see that someone in Israel is right about the Haredi. They are a parasite that is destroying Israel, and they cannot be integrated. They cannot be salvaged. And Israel's in a terrible position now because they represent such a unified voting bloc. The only way to vote the Netanyahu coalition out of power is to partner with the Muslims, with Rom. And you have to view Rom as less dangerous to Israel's survival than the practitioners of Judaism. It's gotten so bad that the Muslims are less lethal to Israel's survival than are the most orthodox and fundamentalist practitioners of Judaism. That's something that you should wake up and deal with if you're an Israeli, or if you're a poster on X or Facebook or any place else. There just is no point. The leaders that are part of a state that is unified in the most overtly satanic of all religions, Islam. In Islam, there is no distinction between Allah and Satan. They are one and the same. And you don't think so, then read the 5 volumes that I have written called Goddamn Religion, based entirely on the Quran and the Hadith, putting the Quran in chronological order and setting it into the context of Muhammad's life. I prove it overwhelmingly. Well, I don't have to prove it. Muhammad and Allah prove it. So, you know, you can smirk, and he is a fairly smooth-talking Muslim. But the very fact is that his religion is overtly satanic. And he knows, therefore, that you can't trust Satan. And Donald Trump is Satan. So there is absolutely no purpose whatsoever for Iran to ever negotiate with Donald Trump again. And it's unlikely that they ever will. And the double proof has been that triple proof, when they were negotiating a little over a year ago, Trump attacked them in the middle of the negotiations. Then they were negotiating again, this time with Oman, and Trump bombed them in the middle of those negotiations. And then the war went really badly for Trump in the United States, and Trump was looking for any way out of this war, and he agreed with the Iranian 10-point plan, which we devoted an entire show on the blog to presenting, which was a complete surrender of the United States. And Trump said, I agree with it, and we will go and we'll negotiate the details on the basis of it, but it has been largely agreed to. And then he went overseas and said, maybe he actually read it and said, nah, well, I can't sign this, so goodbye. Then shortly thereafter, after failing again and again and again, he signed at Versailles the Memorandum of Understanding, which was an even more detailed and overt surrender by the United States. And then he had people read it and said, you know, you just surrendered, idiot. How do you win the war and you surrender like this? This is worse than the original treaty at Versailles in terms of the United States. I mean, this says, boy, not only did I lose, I'm really stupid. And so he immediately went against the deal so he could start the war up again. And now he's begging for a solution. But after you've agreed, after you've bombed them twice while in the middle of negotiations, after the third time when you're negotiating, Trump gets, and he said on air, I'm going to kill the negotiators and I'm going to bomb the country so they have no place to go back to. So now you've got 3 times that he's done this, and you have 2 agreements that he has said, I agree, this is the end of the war. We have come to terms, and he reneged on both of them. and he tore up the original agreement. So you got 3 agreements that have been torn up by Trump. And 3 times in the middle of negotiations, he tried to kill the negotiators and destroy their country. So what piece of shit out there, MAGA, or Trump tush talker, is going to continue with the pretense of that they're dying to have a deal, that they will somehow surrender? No, the Trump White House right now is in shambles because Trump can't understand why he can't intimidate Iran into surrendering when, in fact, the only way out of this war is for him to surrender, and he can't deal with that. And he's just having a conniption fit. And when you see the smirk on this guy's face, it's because that was the intent. That was the intent. They're taunting Trump and the United States. You're going to have to think through this. What are the reasons? The why question again. Why would Iran risk their entire economy, go 2 decades or more under complete international sanctions, be restricted in every possible way, be kicked out of SWIFT, have anyone who wanted to buy their oil sanctioned? Why would they endure that? And continue to enrich uranium to 60% fissile purity, which means that you're within days of having nuclear bombs and having enough nuclear material refined to that level to have a very sizable arsenal of bombs, nuclear bombs. Why would you do that? I mean, you don't have a nuclear program to boil water, which is what a nuclear reactor does, because that's only 3 to 5% fissile purity, and they went to 60 that we know of. And probably now it's at 87, which is the fissionable level. Why would they do that? There's only one answer for why they would risk it all for that. They were taunting the United States and Israel into doing what they did. So you'd say, why would anybody taunt somebody into this? We're right back to the Gaza situation where Sinwar bloodied Israel's nose, knowing that it could taunt Israel into destroying Gaza, and that by destroying Gaza, Israel would be destroyed. And Israel played right into that scenario. And the same thing is true now in Iran. Iran's never going to use a nuclear bomb against Israel.
Right.
They want to own Israel, to bludgeon Israelis. They have no idea. It's not their thing to drop a bomb on Israel. The whole nuclear program was to taunt Israel and the United States into what they did. And you say, well, why again? Why would you do that? Well, look what this war has done. It's taken Iran from one of the 2 or 3 most despised nations on earth to one of the most acclaimed nations on earth. It's taken the United States from one of the most acclaimed nations on earth to one of the most despised nation on earth, and has taken Israel to the most despised nation on earth. It's completely humiliated America. It's humiliated all of the Sunni Arab fiefdoms around Iran.
Big time.
It's destroyed America's bases that were controlling and influencing the Middle East. They've been destroyed. It has bludgeoned America, that has been the one that's imposed all of this harm on Iran all of these years. It's payback. And it's changed Iran so that they're the hegemon of the Middle East. They control the Strait of Hormuz. They have total sway over the even survival of the Arab dictators and fiefdoms that surround them.
They control the Red Sea.
They control it all. They put them in a dominant position. That's the reason why they are taunting America. And even now, they're becoming much more aggressive in taunting America because they know there's really nothing America can do. It's spent its wad, and its wad didn't stick. And now Iran's in a dominant position. The strike on Jordan was really the first time that Iran has escalated on its own initiative. Every other strike was in retaliation for a prior U.S. strike. That strike was on its own recognizance, and it took out very expensive F-35s, killed some Americans, and Trump said, well, then I'm going to hit them back. I'm going to hit them back. hit the effing shit out of them. Okay. You know, keep on escalating, keep on doing what has failed, and prove your insanity. While he smirks.
And I don't know if it's this clip or the next one down with him talking. He goes point by point. That is exactly what their plan was. I mean, is to taunt, and we have every time we've retaliated, you know, with a little bit more extra. I mean,
maybe it's this
he
one.
lays
Because
it all
the next
out.
one, the next one is like my fingers on a chalkboard. So it's where he is debating with an American that's pro-Israel, Dershowitz, I think, and he is because he is giving a host that favors him over Dershowitz, he's able to outshout Dershowitz, and he lies about the Pakistanians. So it may be this one where he presents his case. You can go play a little bit of it.
I mean, they're winning. Yeah, he's smirking.
The Iranians have zero interest in talking to Trump. They will not talk with him. They will not talk with the United States representatives. And this is the problem with the media in the United States. They're all deeply compromised, especially Fox News. So he's saying, he said, I think, remember, after 30 days of bombing, the Iranians came to, no, there's nothing to remember. This is just a fabrication. The Iranians right now are sitting and waiting for the next round of conflict. If Trump escalates, the Iranians will escalate. If the United States continues with these limited attacks, Iran will carry out limited attacks plus, because the Iranians over the last 13 days have been hitting the Americans harder than the Americans have been hitting Iran. Every night when the Americans would strike, the Iranians would strike back, but they'd add a thing or two to put pressure on Trump. And I think we've seen the results. We've seen how much damage has been done. And Iranian capabilities this time around have been more impressive even than the 40-day war, and in their precision and the amount of damage that they've done. And I think it's becoming clear that the Iranians are not running out of anything.
I watched an hour-long presentation last night by an MIT professor. So you know you're really an insomniac if you're watching a hour-long program by an MIT professor. And he by his own admission, he is drier than dust. His subject matter was missiles and interceptors. And he was discussing the level now of the Iranian Fatah missile. And he says that the Iranian Fatah missile is now substantially superior to the second to the top Abrufnik missile from Russia, and that it has a devastating impact because of both the kinetic yield and also the ballistic yield of the missile. But he said the missile is the warhead is completely maneuverable. The warhead actually has its own rocket motor, and so it can accelerate, decelerate, can veer in different directions. It has navigational fins. And he said prior to that missile, the United States was down to an infinitesimal impact on interceptors. And he says with this missile, it's less than 1%. That the THAADs, which costs upwards, $10, $20, $30 million a piece, and the Patriots, which are multi-million-dollar interceptors, have a less than 1% impact on these missiles. So that he went on and just said, I can explain to you the dynamics of it and why this is the case. And he went off and did it. It was really exciting. But the fact of the matter is that the Iranian missiles now are not interceptable by U.S. defensive systems. And the U.S. defensive systems now are at least a decade behind and are essentially useless. And the difficulty here is that it was always, like shooting a moving object at a range of the edge of space. where you have the satellites pick up, there was a launch, but the satellites can't tell you where it's going. And then these very expensive radar systems that are tied to these missile systems for the U.S. have to then pick up where the missile is going. But the Iranians destroyed all three that we had in the Middle East. They're billions of dollars apiece. They destroyed all three the first day of the war. There's now one being disassembled in Korea that they want to transport probably to Israel. It'll probably last a week. And so without that, we don't have any early, the U.S. has no early reporting of where the missiles are going. And the thing that worked is ballistic trajectory, so that if the missile goes up, it will follow a flight plan down, and you can send your interceptor to that point. And, we had about a 50, maybe 30% chance of intercept. So if you send up 3 really expensive interceptors, you had a likelihood of intercepting the ballistic trajectory. But the moment they stopped following ballistic trajectory, the moment they went hypersonic, the systems were completely inept. They're an utter and complete waste of time. You might as well just be sitting there with a butterfly net.
Yeah,
and that's
you need
where,
2 points
that's where
of data.
Israel is. That's where the United States is. That's where all of the Middle Eastern fiefdoms are.
Yeah, you need 2 points of data to predict the flight path of this thing, and then you throw and your radar can't get around fast enough before it's already on you with a hypersonic for sure. I mean, it's
but maneuverable is the bigger issue. If it moves at all, you're gone. And then there's also countermeasures, which are part of every Russian missile, for example, in terms of intercontinental ballistic missiles. The countermeasures cause the perceivable target to go from 1 to 20 or 30. And it's the one that is the actual target is tiny compared to the ones that are the decoys. And so at that point, we have a 0%. I mean, literally, America has a 0% chance of knocking out an incoming nuclear missile. And in this region, we now have a 0% chance of knocking out the most advanced of the Iranian missiles. And when Trump said that he knocked out all 8 of 8 Iranian inbound missiles, the expert from MIT said the odds that he did that with the U.S. technology is 1 in 100 billion. And by the way, the Chinese and others have satellite imagery that you can look out and say that he lied.
Yeah.
They impacted. So that's where we are.
Yeah, and back to this, the lies. I mean, you're dealing with Satan when the Muslims are the most trustworthy in the room. I mean, it's
Satan against Satan. I mean, this is the Iranian war is Satan's wet dream. It is literally Satan v. Satan. And you'd say, well, why would Satan fight Satan? That is Satan's primary thing. That is Satan's primary gig. And until you understand Satan v. Satan, you can't understand religion.
It's that simple in Islam. They will fight to the death. I mean, 2 Muslims meet, and they're the last 2 on earth. They have to fight to the death.
And if you tell a Muslim that Allah is Satan, they'll say no, because the Quran condemns Satan. No, it really doesn't. But to the degree that you can interpret it that way, because there happen to be entire surahs of the Quran that are named after and devoted to demons. And we're told that the demons love the Quran. And every time there's a discussion between Allah and Satan, you can't actually tell who's talking. They have exactly the same message. And of course, Allah spends all of his time in hell torturing people. And everything that Allah says is equivalent to what Satan wants. So it's obvious that Allah is Satan. So why would Allah besmirch Satan? Why in the Christian New Testament does their Lord God criticize Satan? And the answer is just so obvious. It's odd that I'm the first person to recognize it and tell it to you. But the fact is that Satan hates the adversary title. Hasatan means the adversary. What has been transliterated as a name is actually a title, the adversary. That is what Hasatan means. Now, he doesn't want to be the adversary. He wants to be, and in fact, he's programmed to present himself as God. And so you can't be worshiped as if you were a god if you are wearing this adversary title. So what does Satan have to do to be worshipped as the Lord God of Christianity, as Allah and Islam, as Hashem in Judaism? He has to go to war with the adversary title. So he does all the time. That is the essence of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, is Satan's war against the title that God gave him. And so when you're looking at this war where Satan incarnate, Donald Trump, is waging a war against the Islamic Republic, which is based on Satanism, you have Satan v. Satan, and Satan loves it. Why? Because he hates people, and wars kill people. You know, the first victim of war, of course, is the truth, and the second is people, and he hates people.
Yeah, it's the nature of being the adversary. You're adversarial to everything. It's none of it's me.
The truth, life, all of it. Surely this man was God. So here, let me just show you how miserably pathetic Christianity is. The testimony that says, surely this man is the Son of God, is coming from the beast. It's coming from Imperial Rome, that was there subjugating and oppressing God's people. It's coming from a man that I mean, it never actually occurred, but they're still trying to create credibility by saying a man representing the most vicious regime in human history. That regime that subjugated Jews and all of Europe and was so brutal to the world that God says is the most vicious, red and claw and tooth, that regime is the one that you're going to for an endorsement of your religion. How in the world could you be that pathetic? I mean, again, that's be like asking Satan if he would endorse Jesus. Well, yeah, sure. Allah too, while we're at it. In fact, I'll even endorse Trump for you. That is the equivalent of this. And yet they can't see it. That's how blind the faithful are to reality. That's really, really pathetic. Salah, Chad. You should be embarrassed. But you're not. Which means you're a half-tard. Or a no-tard.
No-tard.
So this is Trump Commerce Secretary, and he is telling everybody that this next quarter is going to be robust. Oh man, the dumpster, we got it ignited. Wall Street's going to soar. We're going to make people rich, and the economy is going to be great. Now, mind you, for the most part, he has eliminated all of the reporting mechanisms for the U.S. government pursuant to the economy. So he hasn't replaced those people because, well, their information is contrary to what he wants you to believe. Well, guess what? The information was disastrous. Growth fell to less than half of what it was projected to be. And so you get the Commerce Secretary, and he's saying, oh, going to be great, robust. We're going to be terrific. And it came in at half of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, second quarter 2026. This guy was this was in December. He was the amount of money flowing in from all the Trump plans from outside overseas flowing into the United States. I mean, we're going to see upwards of 4% growth second quarter of 2026, and they come out with 1.5.
And that's a lot. And even that's a lot.
Well,
and even that's a lot.
That's a lot.
And adjusted for inflation, it would actually be the economy is cratering. But yeah, do you think he's going to apologize?
No.
You going to hold your breath?
got to maintain the illusion.
No. Yeah, maintain the illusion. Okay. See how that works out for you, MAGA. All right, so this is pretty brutal.
We got to play this one. We got to play
okay.
this one because
All right,
I
go
love
ahead.
I love hoses. I love fire trucks. So
Okay. Give him a good clean. Give him a good clean. Scrub him down, baby. Hose down that trash. Most of them are Marxist thugs. But Germany, of all places, is in the best position to recognize what happens when you blend Muslims and Marxists together. Because this is a replay of what happened when the Grand Mufti met with Hitler. Hitler was the Marxist, the Grand Mufti was the Muslim, and as a direct result of that, the concentration camps became death camps, and 12 million people, 6 million of them being Jews, were exterminated because of the unification of Muslims and Marxists. So Germany knows the consequence of that. Unfortunately, there's no professor in America or Europe that does. There's not a journalist that does, but we do. And we're going to continue to harp on it. Germany is right. This is the very thing that explodes into Holocausts.
yeah, this.
But at least we can keep
Hamas-
Kevin happy with fire hoses.
There's not a better use of a fire. I don't understand. And I don't understand why they're banned. I don't understand why they're banned. It's just water. I could cut through concrete, but it's just water.
Yeah, so this is quite the billowing fire. I don't know how much of this is legit, but we know the warehouse was hit. We know that it was went up in flames, and we know that the skies grew dark around Moscow. But I'm here to tell you, Ukrainians, you are looking at what you're going to see in Kiev. You play with fire and you're going to get burnt. And that's what you've done. So what you're seeing here, you will soon see in Kiev. And you will have...
Now they're calling this a Russian logistics center. Do you know what a Wildberries is? It's like a Walmart or a Costco, isn't it? I mean,
it's their version.
Russian...
It's their version of the largest retailer in Russia. It's a Walmart or a Costco kind of distribution facility. And it even looks like them. Yeah.
This is a civilian target. This is 100% a civilian.
Well, of course,
okay.
Of course. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that that's what Kiev's going to look like. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for the fact that Russia actually wants the city of Odessa reasonably intact, that's what Odessa would look like. Mm-hmm. Odessa at this point has been nullified. There's no shipping coming in or out of Odessa. It was the place where 90% of Ukraine's produce, its farm produce, wheat, and the other agricultural products were shipped to the world, and now there's nothing leaving Odessa. There's nothing coming into Odessa. And that's the reason why you saw probably in the news that it was claimed that Russia bombed Poland. Well, that's not really true, but Russia has been now sending its missiles to the border between Poland and Ukraine, because now that they have sealed off Odessa, the only other place where the Ukrainians receive European weapons to go kill Russians is along that border with Poland. And so they're going to have many more overlapping missiles than the one that crashed on its own recognizance there in an open field. It's going to happen a lot here, because that's the only open spot now. Otherwise, Ukraine is surrounded and cut off. It'll be starved.
I just don't understand how this isn't a war crime. I mean, it would be like us bombing a Walmart because it carries DJI drones. I mean, I don't understand how this is.
Well, of course, but does it really matter anymore what's a war crime?
Well, no, but I mean,
the United States has become the worst war criminal in the history of the nation. Does it matter? And the UN's definition, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. Waste of breath. All right, sir, what do you got? All right. So here's boy, that place is just hideous. I think, oh, God. To see what he's done. Oh, to the Oval Office. How utterly hideous. But here they're claiming that after hours after meeting with Zelensky, and then Netanyahu, Trump betrayed Ukraine again, ordering $400 million in congressionally approved military aid to be delayed until 2029. Well, he also did the same thing to Taiwan. And the reason he did it with Taiwan is not only the United States doesn't have weapons to ship anywhere because they've used them all up, is because Xi told his bitch to not butt out of Taiwan, and Trump capitulated. That was how that went down. In terms of Ukraine, it's just this giant hole that you throw shit into, and America doesn't have the weapons to throw shit into the hole anymore. But where this person anonymous is bemoaning Trump not arming Ukraine, I would say, well, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So he actually did something right, even though it probably was for the wrong reason.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly. He didn't have the arms to send to Ukraine, so let's delay it till 2029. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, of course. You know, that's why he didn't send them Patriots. He sent them authorization to build Patriots. First of all, the Patriot is no longer useful, and by the time they were to actually build and deploy a Patriot system, the world's going to be over 3 times over. So.
Yeah, before they can get the roof on the facility that was going to build a Patriot missile, that war was going to be over.
Yeah. Trump at 5 p.m. Netanyahu said Iran was 1 week from a nuke, so we had to go to war. And Arachi later that same day. North Korea has nukes. World's at peace. Pakistan, Russia, China have nukes. World's at peace. But even Israel have nukes. But the notion that Iran's a week away from having nukes, that causes the world to be at war. He thinks there's something wrong with that logic. Yeah, you go justify that. Now, you want to say, well, they're a mad terrorist regime. Well, there's no regime on earth madder or more vile than the Trump administration. So let's go to war and take all of the capability of nukes away from the United States. That would be doing the world a service.
Yeah. What happened here? Oh.
You know, the anti-Semites have gone just absolutely bonkers on AI talking heads. Rabbi doesn't exist. He doesn't make any such statement. The whole thing is fake. And yet, because they have no point to make, they can't justify their hatred for Jews using evidence and reason. They just make it all up. And while that's deplorable, what's far more deplorable is this shit shows up in my feed. That Gronk is complicit in the deception. And it destroys the credibility of X. Makes X nothing but a racist cesspool. It's deplorable. Gronk should be ashamed if it had a conscience. It doesn't. Musk should be ashamed if he had a conscience. He doesn't. The users of this vile site ought to be ashamed, but they don't have one either.
Yeah, I watched through this, and there wasn't one discernible like fact or truth in any of it. The entire, not even the ones that we can drop out as a fact and kind of play off the others. Nothing. It was like you say, even the whole video's fake. This guy doesn't exist, and he's going to say we control the world.
And no logic behind any of it. Talk about disgusting, though. These people, unfortunately, aren't fake. They're just frauds. I have long said, and I will continue to say, the most vile people on earth are not jihadi Muslims. They're not ruthless and moralist Muslims. The worst and most vile people on earth are Haredi. They're ultra-Orthodox Jews. They are the most vile, worthless, counterproductive force on earth. Judaism is the enemy of Jews. Now, I understand that this is just the most vile sect, but they're large in number. And they're really not that far away from the anti-Zionist, anti-Israel positions of the Haredi in Israel, which dominate Judaism in Israel. And it should be known that God hates them. But he has a nifty black chariot that coordinates with them, and he's going to haul all of them to hell. It's a direct ticket from wherever God finds them. He's hauling every single one of them in the black chariot to hell. And he hates them because they've lied about him, because they've separated his people from him, and because the same scum are responsible for creating Christianity and for Islam. This is the worst of the worst. And here they're raising the flag of Fakistinians.
It's just...
Oh, God. And again, if comes in a time where we're going to have the authority and the power to do this, I would begin by dropping them all in Gaza. Parachute, no parachute, I don't really care. Drop them all in Gaza.
Just cut a hole in the fence and let them in. You guys go see how it is in Gaza. See how you like it.
No, not see how you like it. Don't really care how they like it.
Don't come back.
No, it's good riddance. You're out of here. Yeah, might send them. The Sudan would be a good spot to send them. Somalia, Algeria, a lot of lovely places. You could send them to Afghanistan,
Syria. They'd like Syria.
Yeah, well, yeah. Putin is saying here that, and this is years ago, he's saying, do you really want to go to war against Russia? If you're in France, your government wants to go to war against Russia, but do you want to go to war against Russia? I mean, have you thought this through? Why would you want to do that? And he says, no one ever wins a war. Everyone always loses. And this war, of course, was started by the United States, and the flames of war were fanned by the EU. And it's ultimately going to torch those who have promoted it. Now, I only wish that, Putin would gain the conviction of his words and respond and respond before it gets to be to the point where the only response is nuclear. I mean, I have no influence on how that's going to play out. I can rid Israel of scum and ultimately dispatch all of these buffoons, but I can't do that for another 7 years. But this is really, it's really sad how people have been played for fools, and how they are honkering for war. The U.S., 30% of Americans want Trump to continue to war in Iran, that think that he did a noble thing in Venezuela by kidnapping their leader and stealing their oil. People are now waking up to the realization that we've said for some time, that Trump made a speech where he said that he was taking the proceeds. They're in a bank in Qatar. not coming to America. It didn't go to Venezuela. He just simply stole the proceeds.
It was something
Tens of
like
billions
13.
of dollars.
Okay, I was going to say it was like 13 billion was the last number I heard.
Well, that's the
that they
reported
were-
number. But it's if you actually look at the amount of oil that has been shipped out, and it's it's not great, but the amount of oil that's been shipped out, it's closer to 50 billion.
Wow.
That has disappeared.
And the other thing in this video, it goes on, because this is a much older video, like you said, he talks about how in the 90s and the fall of the ruble and the fall of the Soviet Union and everything, how Russia really thought that they were going to be able to reach out and be a part of Europe at that
Yes.
time.
Right.
All they have ever wanted was to sell Europe cheap gas. Cheap energy. That's all they've ever wanted. It was to be, you know what I mean? Russia was never
Well,
trying
they want to do business. They want to
they
have, they didn't much like the Napoleon situation. They didn't much like what the Germans did to them. They didn't much like what the Turks did to them. They didn't much like even what the Japanese did to them. They're tired of being everybody's target for fighting wars, and they're tired of having to sacrifice the lives of their sons and daughters to defend the world from the tyrants. They're just tired of it. They just say, "Why can't we just all get along? You're the Europe. You're the wellspring from which war emerges. Why not recognize it's really a stupid idea and don't do it again? We don't want war with you, but you seem insistent on war with us."
Yeah. I just wonder where that mindset comes. The Soviet Union had fallen, the big bad guy was gone, and then all of a sudden it was Russia again. Russia
Well,
bad.
no, you don't want to
Putin
know why
bad.
that happens. It's pretty simple. When you're in countries like, well, really any country, but let's just use the democracy where you have to have votes, and things are not going well. You're accumulating debt. Your industry is crumbling. Your graft is accelerating. Things are not going well. The only way you can control people at that point is to have an external boogeyman. You have to have somebody that you can rally them around to hate. And you can say, yes, you're suffering, but the reason you're suffering, the conspiracy is that Putin's a bad guy. And if we go off and we 86 Putin, then everything will be good. Iran's a bad guy. So we can 86 Iran, everything will be good. But the reason that the world's a mess is because of Iran. And we're the good guys that are making the sacrifice to go off and take out the boogeyman. And it's always a pile of lies. And it's propaganda. But that is what has happened. And sometimes it's augmented in terms of the choice of boogeyman is pretty typically identified with what is the wealthiest country in terms of natural resources that we can exploit, so that we get a 2-for-1 with our boogeyman. We not only fool our own population to think that we're doing a noble thing and that they make the sacrifice for the big military and everything else and deficit spending, but also when we prevail, we get to control their assets, which is what we've done with Iran for the last 100 years. It's what we're trying to do with Russia, what America is trying to do with Russia. So those are the two motivations.
It's the same plan from Zabrinsky.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was his plan. Let's do what the Ukraine and Afghanistan, and we just continue this playbook.
Yes, it's the CIA and the military-industrial complex has had pretty much the same scheme. Yeah, and when you recognize what America did back under the peanut farmer president Jimmy Carter and Zbigniew Brzezinski, his whole concept was that we could give the Russians what they had given us in Vietnam. And so he armed the Taliban to go and kill Ruskies. And then that when they prevailed, they said, well, we need a new enemy, and America became the new enemy that we had armed. So it's a real tragic thing that we have done to ourselves, and we just create all manner of propaganda about it and lie to everybody, and people believe it.
I can see Russia from my house.
Yeah, of course. This one is really vile. This is Mardani, the professor, is he is vile in this one, and the problem is that he has a host who is an anti-Semite, and the man he's arguing with, Dershowitz, is not very bright, and so he's able to scream over him. But what he's screaming here is just all manner of lies. He has every reason to hate Israel. But among those reasons are not the Fakistinians. There is no Palestine. There is no Palestinian. There has never been a Palestine. There has never been a Palestinian. The whole thing is a lie, and it's an ethnic slur to use to destroy Israel, and it has been for a long time. And he's actually well enough educated to know that he's promoting his lie. He just found a place where he could be an anti-Semite, and he went on a rant. And the sad thing is that he is normally a sane, moral voice for the Iranian-U.S. conflict. But when he goes off script and starts to attack Israel based upon Gaza, he becomes just a religious whore. And this was really disgusting.
And he knows it. They have the entire Muslim world has absolutely no problem sacrificing Gazans trying to bring down Israel.
Sinwar sacrificed Gaza. He was officially the mayor of Gaza, and he sacrificed Gaza to bring Israel down. So, Arafat was, the whole thing was, we're going to sacrifice Muslims under the pseudonym Palestinians to bring Israel down. This is the whole strategy is we'll sacrifice Muslims to be martyrs to bring Israel down, because they'll look at what Israel is doing and they'll not recognize that it's the Muslims who are promoting apartheid and genocide and have been for 1,400 years. And the little idiot Marxists out there will actually rally to our cause and make the perpetrators of apartheid and genocide as Muslims look like they're the victims, and the people that have been victimized by it for 14 centuries look like the perpetrators, because, people are very easy to fool, and they can be played for fools, and no one takes the time to learn the truth. So here we are, and that's why the lie prevails. Yeah, this is an interesting video. We can end on this. So the Muslims are presenting this event as as Jews murdering a 14-year-old Muslim boy. However, they eliminate the beginning of the video. And what you see is this 14-year-old Muslim boy. He's got a knife, and he tries to slash the guts out of the Jew. So he goes to a Jewish police officer. He brandishes his knife, and you will see this guy right there in the black on the right. That's the full videos on the right. The one that the Muslims are promoting is on the left. You will see him come up against the Israeli police officer and try to stab him to death. And it is only when he runs away with his knife that they eliminate him. In other words, he deserved to die. There's no murder here. There is self-defense here. And it's just a shame how egregiously the Muslims will lie. Now, this is being presented by Vivid, who I have a huge bone to pick with. And in this case, he would have had a marvelous post if he could only say Islamic and Muslim rather than promote the myth of Palestinian. And he'd have been much more effective. But, we're never going to change the fact that he's disaster overall for Israel, even though this is worth seeing. Go ahead and play it.
Yeah,
Yep.
tried to stab Israeli police, and who knows where he's running off to with his knife. I mean, to stab someone
Yep.
in a car, someone at a bus stop, you know?
Yeah, you're not going to let somebody like that
No.
do it again. And the problem that Israel's had over the past too, if you try to commit murder and you are religiously motivated to kill Jews because you're a Muslim, you can't be put in prison because they'll kidnap Jews to trade them for Muslims. You cannot do that. So you either have to kill them on the scene or you have to put them to death. And in this case, the video is so obvious you don't even need a trial here. Just eliminate them. But so long as Islam exists, there's going to be no peace in Israel. Gaza Wood, the Pallywood saga, that's somebody that I chose to follow. Unfortunately, I don't get their feed anymore, but it was probably one of the best pro-Islamic sites. And the person that ran it was quite open to communication. I would comment on their posts, and they would come back with a response. But it's a shame that Gronk has so screwed up their algorithms that they no longer allow you to see those that you tried to follow. All right. Well, we've just gone over a little less than an hour and a half. It's a shorter show. We're going to try to shorten it from here out. By way of other projects, I'm really close now to finishing Volume 4 of Coming Home, which is Bashar Herald. I've made a complete edit pass through it. I have two or three chapters still that I'd like to send out for editing. But I've added all the superscripts to it. And right now I'm just updating some of the commentary and translations of Yeshayahu Isaiah 30, which is just really profound. And even more profound, it's one of those things where, I only translated this 6 months ago and said, wow, that's one of the most amazing prophecies we have ever read. And you can go through it now based upon what we've learned in the last 6 months. And we missed half of it in terms of just how profound it really is and how appropriate it is. And it just the nature of where we are in our growth curve at this point. But anyway, that's where I am. As soon as we do that, I'm going to give it to the team one more time to do a quick edit pass through. And then we will, I'm going to begin today editing Coming Home 5, which is word pictures. My longtime editor, JK, wrote me a note that I'll probably share on Family Hour tonight about his response to the final word picture. It just tells you where we've come, where we are. And it really is sensational. And so I'll share that tonight. We're going to have a Dr. Jeff and Kirk presentation of Dr. Jeff's Mad Magazine version of Sigmund Freud as a bit of a skit tonight, something to look forward to. We're going to play again Luminaries, because that is our topic. And after that, we're going to pursue deeper into this marvelous story of Ruth and Boaz, and the import of their relationship pursuant to the world as we know it today. So that's what's we're pursuing throughout this evening. So look forward to seeing you at 6 o'clock Eastern this evening on Family Hour of the YAHOWAH Vlog. Good day. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Kevin.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. That was Fetch. Gotta run now. Catch y'all on our next podcast.